Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're taking a look at the most recent single from the Canadian rock band Silverstein titled Poison Pill. This track will be featuring on the upcoming deluxe version of their most recent album Misery Made Me. It will be one of many additions to the deluxe version with a couple of new singles, some acoustic versions as well, all blended in with the original album. And the album proved to be very strong for the band, despite them departing further away from their post-hardcore sound and delving further and further into more melodic guitar riffs. It really did still show that the band have got what it takes to continue writing great music even after all these years and all these albums. Songs such as Ultraviolet and Live Like This certainly showed the melodic side of the band, as it's something they've been playing with very heavily over recent years, and again more contributions from a string of different guest vocalists all contributing, and it's something the band have really mastered over recent albums, really making strong use of the guest performances that would feature on their albums. And it'll be interesting to see why this song didn't make the cut on the original album release. Maybe it didn't fit in with the themes that we did see explored over the course of the album, or maybe they felt they just found the perfect runtime with the 11 tracks and the beautiful closer of Misery that they did include on the album. So will this track kill like poison or be the antidote that they need? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
In love with the feeling, we're chasing a ghost. If we got what we wanted, would we ever even know? Twisting the meaning till it fits in the frame. There's a gun in the mirror, but it doesn't kill the pain.
Okay, I want to touch on one thing straight away, and that is the fact that you've just got Billy Hamilton's bass coming in. It's grungy, it's dirty, but I love it when a bass gets to be the prominent instrument at the start of a track. We do not see enough strong bass intros. You think of songs such as Hysteria by Muse, these songs that really let the bass player shine, and I love that the band have done that with this opening. Not introducing any other instruments until Paul comes in with the drums, and just having Shane and Billy work together in harmony to kind of bring that intro in. I think that's really smart the way they've done that, and great to see a bass player finally getting a bit of time in the spotlight at the opening of a track. From the lyrics though, we certainly get an interesting mix coming in here. This idea of being in love with a feeling, chasing a ghost. It's almost this idea of trying to chase something that you can't have, and I certainly feel like this is already going to revolve around the idea of relationships. Would we even know if we got what we wanted? So this idea of you're trying to find this perfect answer but you can never quite find it, twisting meanings to fit in the frame, so you almost mold yourself to try and make something work. So straight away these lyrics give off this emphasis of a crashing and burning relationship where you're trying to fit yourself to somebody else to really make the relationship work, but you can't quite kill the pain.
I can't believe for medicine's the poison pill. Cure my disease. I'm running out of blood to spill. So it's gonna be
And with the chorus, I want to touch on one thing they did actually really well, is they actually just brought the guitars in just in the chorus. I like that they used the guitars to really emphasize the power of that chorus, to really elevate the levels and give it this much more dramatic flourish that it does need. So it's really smart the way they did that, and again just really giving the bass time on its own. And certainly with the lyrics we can start seeing these medicinal elements coming in, this idea of medicine being the poison pill. It's almost this idea of where you think something's going to cure you or help you, but in fact it completely does the opposite. And this could touch on the idea of when people try and jump into relationships because they feel lonely and they're trying to fix things, or certainly relationships that are ongoing, that are going through a tough time. You think that maybe having a child together will fix things, but often it can be the undoing. So things like that, they're not really closing in on a specific meaning, but you can see what they're trying to aim the track around. And I love how they're using the idea of medicine in many of the lyrics. Cure my disease, lots of comparatives at opposite ends of the spectrum. And this idea of running out of blood spill, the idea of giving blood, and this beautiful idea of overdosing on placebo. You're trying to constantly thrive for something that actually has no effect. You're trying to gain love from something that doesn't give it almost. And that's the idea of a placebo. It's something that mentally you get that effect, but it's not actually doing anything for you. So we can certainly see how that all would fit in with the idea of a broken relationship.
we're trapped in the middle, taking turns.
Beautiful more lyrics here that we have got coming in. I'm really enjoying some of these. It's this idea of being trapped in the middle, not knowing which way to go, that idea of being lost, taking turns with the blame, constantly blaming and throwing punches at each other and treading water again, just kind of holding yourself in place, not really going in any particular direction. And this idea of circling the drain. So again, it's a circular motion. You just keep going round and round until you eventually break the cycle. So these lyrics are really well constructed. And I can see from the slower, more sluggish pace they've got on this track, that's probably why they didn't want to include it on Misery Made Me. It's very akin to tracks such as Bankrupt, and that was probably one of the only sort of less melodic tracks on the album, so certainly can see why they've left it for a deluxe version. I'm actually quite surprised though, because I'm glad they've released it, but it's a surprise because it is a very strong track lyrically and musically as well, so I'm glad that they have chosen to release this. Some of the lyrics as well, it's time to smile for the camera. How often do you see couples that are really miserable or something like that, or certainly could be tied to that idea of mental health as well. You may smile on camera, but when that camera's taken away, you don't see what goes on behind closed doors or what someone's truly like when you're not seeing a snapshot of their life where they're appearing or kind of not being very authentic with themselves.
I can't believe the medicine's the poison pill. My disease, I'm running out of blood to spill. It's
Okay, I love the fact they're just throwing an instrumental solo in here. Beautiful to see some strong guitar work coming in from both guitarists, really just adding an extra level of power to this from Josh and Paul. Just so great how they're adding so many different bits and pieces of elements to this to really make it a very, very powerful track. And just throw some little bits in that really show what the band are capable of. They can play with so many styles, genres and thrusts. Their instrumentalists are fantastic in some of the ability that they do have, so great to see them letting it shine. Well, I really, really enjoyed that. I love how towards the end of the track they actually decided to throw in a couple of vocal harmonies as well, just to mix things up a little bit, some nice layering on the end of the track, and I'm really glad they've chosen to release this. You don't see the same extreme raw aggression from Shane that you used to see. You see him occasionally trying to sort of amp the vocals up a little bit. He's always been a very solid vocalist, doesn't kind of hit the screams and the harsher notes that he used to hit, or not to the same level anyways, but great to still see them still keeping that very interesting sort of slow headbang melody that they have got to this. It is just one of those great tracks that you're not getting whiplash because you're trying to headbang to it so quickly, and I love the fact that they just let the bass go solo. That was beautiful at the start of the track. I really wish more bands would actually adopt this idea in letting their basses shine. Often the guitarists, drummers get a lot of credit, and bass is just there in the background being a steady and constant kind of rhythm to the actual band or to a song. So I did love that, and I love love these lyrics, all revolving around the idea of this medicinal sort of theme that we have got running throughout the track, whilst also incorporating these ideas of a broken relationship, being stuck in this middle ground, trying to find a solution, and what you often think is the solution is actually causing you a lot of detriment and actually making you worse off. So I love how they threw that idea in, and it doesn't solely have to apply to relationships. You can again look at the idea of mental health, but because of the constant use of we, it felt very inclusive, like it was two people engaged in a story, but you can still draw that conclusion, this idea of sometimes what you think is the fix can actually hold you back. If you try and reach out of your comfort zone too soon, you then take one step forward, two steps back. So lots of meaning that you can draw from this, a beautiful lyrical song, and great to see them kind of adopting this slower style on this track compared to the more melodic sounds that we did here on Misery Made Me. So that will be everything for today's video, but please feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comment section below. Do you wish they had included it on Misery Made Me? Or are you just really glad, like me, that they have chosen to release it on the deluxe version? We are finally getting to hear it. I would love to know your thoughts. And if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.